Years later, sitting on a twin bed at Smith College, I told this story to my roommate. Ayala was from Queens, street smart and very beautiful, and she had rolled her eyes.
They are the absolute worst.
I assumed she meant guys like Morgan, but she shook her head.
No, silly. There is a Morgan on every street corner. I mean girls like Stacy.
I didn't tell Ayala the rest of the story. That I had spent all of July and half of August floating through town like a tumbleweed. Each time, just when I thought it was over, Stacy would suddenly appear and we would spend the afternoon together, drinking frozen lemonade, swinging on the old tire swing in the middle school playground. One day we went to the town pool. Another, we rode bikes down to the muddy lake and tossed pebbles into the water. Anyone looking at us from the outside would have just assumed we were good friends, slowly inching our way through the long summer days. They didn't see what we did when no one was looking. Stacy left for a family vacation in mid-August, but before she did, she kissed me long and hard and told me that I was the prettiest girl she had ever been with. In the fall, she started dating the captain of the football team, a pairing that I found cliché and unsatisfying. I did not handle it well. Morgan's Camry was not the last backseat I found myself in, and his were not the only fuzzy blankets. By the time Stacy and her jock boyfriend won prom king and queen that spring, she wore a long blue dress with sequins and a slit up the side. I had developed somewhat of a reputation. Stacy graduated and went off to some college upstate. I spent the summer before my junior year working at a sleepaway camp on the shore, where I actually met a cute dance instructor. Her name was Hannah, not Johnny. Hannah was a sweet girl with blonde hair and dimples that burrowed into her cheeks when she laughed, and we had 3 weeks of innocent and completely consensual fun. On the last day of camp, she got a little teary and told me that I was the first girl she had ever been with. I lied and told her the same. After college, I followed the well-worn path of many a New Jersey girl and moved to a tiny one-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn with a roommate I met on Craigslist. When she decided 3 years later that she couldn't hack NYC life and moved out, I decided to keep the apartment for myself. The girls I met on dating apps liked to talk nostalgically about their past, about high school when your biggest concern was Friday's midterm and what to wear to school in the morning, about college when you could drink 6 beers, pass out in someone's dorm room and stumble into sociology the next morning in your pajamas and no one batted an eyelash. They whined about the unfair expectations of the current job market, about high-maintenance women with unrealistic dating goals. When they asked me about my past, I would always reply with small-town Jersey, as if that explained everything. Maybe it did. All I knew is I was happy to be grown, happy to no longer be a lost teenager desperate for any kind of adventure. You couldn't pay me enough to be 14 again. Morgan actually became somewhat of a low-key celebrity, known for a popular series of YouTube videos about woodworking or sculpting or something maker-ish like that. The last video I saw had over 1 million views. Stacy married a stockbroker, and last I checked, she was living in a big white house in the suburbs with 2 kids under 2 and a big fluffy golden retriever. I have no idea if that was the life she wanted. Sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep, I like to think that it wasn't. That somewhere deep in the back of her mind, she still thinks of me as the one who got away. It's a funny thing, your past, mostly it shrinks farther and farther away, like the entrance to a long tunnel you are driving through, until it is barely a dot in your memory. But occasionally something attaches itself, stubborn and prickly like a barnacle in the ocean, and it can take you years to shake it off. On the last night of my honeymoon in Cancun, I was sipping a glass of champagne by the water when my beautiful new wife turned to me and said,
"Tell me your deepest, darkest secret."
I thought for a moment, the gentle soundtrack of the waves playing in the background. There were plenty of things I could tell her, plenty of embarrassing moments from a younger life that had not been particularly reserved or conservative. But instead, I shook my hair out of my face and said,
It took me 20 years to finally know what kind of person I want to be.
Cynthia raised her eyebrows, clearly having expected something different.
And what kind is that?
Someone worthy of love.
I replied. She kissed me then, and it wasn't at all like being 14 in the backseat of a Camry or like the taste of lemonade in the parking lot of the Wawa. It wasn't like deep in the forest at Camp Mohunk, the scent of bug spray in everyone's hair. It wasn't like dorm rooms in college or the wet, spongy air in the back of that bar in Red Hook. It wasn't like any of those times. This time, this kiss was like coming home.